is my mama's garage.
To be so young and still active, Tyler, the Creator, is one of the most influential rappers and musicians in the business today and yesterday. His brass and abstract tactics were scary to say the worst and game-changing to say the best. As a business, he and Odd Future were promoting their music in ways that just hadn't been seen before at the time, but are now methods that are completely normal today. From YouTube to Tumblr to an overall DIY approach to everything. I can't think of anybody that were able to be so successful independently while being able to cross over into mainstream culture before OF. And I mean completely independent of backers and support. As an artist, he's a student of the game. And with every project, he's consistently evolved himself. From a psychopathic, misogynist, immature but hilarious murderer that hates his dad, to an incredibly introspective and confused man going through a sonically colorful early life crisis. His growth is truly inspiring to fellow artists and influential business people alike. And for that, here's a ranking of Tyler, the Creator's albums from worst to first. Number 6, Goblin. 2011 is without a doubt the breakout year for Tyler, the Creator and Odd Future. After the release of Frank Ocean's Nostalgia Ultra, Mellow Heights Black and White, and the internet's Purple Naked Ladies. But Tyler's Goblin album was given the most visibility due to its controversial lyrics and visuals. I definitely remember watching the Yonkers video when it first debuted, and it simultaneously terrified me and captivated me. Goblin tells the story of an artist that's tasting his first morsels of fame and how much it negatively affects his psyche. Sonically, it's more or less a continuation of Bastard Sound, with cheap MIDI plugs, thick chords, and out-of-key synths. And sadly, while those sounds match perfectly with its predecessor, they don't really work well on its follow-up. This album contains tons of forgettable filler that doesn't age well overall. Transylvania, Fist, Boppin' Bitch, Window, all a bit boring. Bitch Suck Dick is easily Tyler, Jasper, and Taco's weakest collaboration that they've made, and the album as a whole just feels really unfocused. The bright spots usually come when Tyler is at his most honest. Her, Nightmare, and the title song are such quality lyrics speaking on how he's lonely and yearning for a real companion. Though it's a disappointment for sure, it didn't really hurt him too much as he earned his first and only VMA that year. And Odd Future basically owned the rest of the year and pretty much every year after. Side note, ain't it weird to hear Frank Ocean sing about raping people? Never really was a fan even back then. Number 5, Cherry Bomb. You can consider Cherry Bomb to be Tyler's transitional record. A bridge between his previous dark, murky persona and his current colorful, thoughtful image. With that in mind, it's kinda wild that this album contains some of his best and worst records within his catalog. You can hear that he was beginning to find his footing as an overall musician with songs like Find Your Wings, Two-Seater, Buffalo, and Fucking Young. By the way, how was a perfect song like Fucking Young not a top 10 Billboard hit, bruh? The arrangements are so crisp and lovely, but still contain a little of that original dirty essence. And we're given what might be the best Lil Wayne and Kanye West collaboration ever in Smuggers. But the mix. Good God, the mix. The title song Cherry Bomb, Blow My Load, and Pilot are almost impossible to listen to regarding the lyrics. So distorting and piercing that listening to it is so much of a fucking chore. What's also a detractor is that it's the only album that isn't based around a theme. It's a bit frustrating to rank it so low because some of the records are magic from a production perspective, but what's great about it is that it gives great insight on Tyler's near future. So much potential in an album. Either way, I give praise to what might be Tyler's most underrated album. Number 4, Bastard. We've hit the end of 2009, In the year of Drake basically dominating rap and the New Boys and Young LA and all those other hodgepodge of Coming You Miss It artists, we get a young artist from LA that's built a minor following through the internet and constantly collaborating with what would eventually become the nucleus of Odd Future. And from that opening monologue dissing two of the biggest blogs in hip-hop at the time, you could really see that this one was gonna be a winner. The debut album from Tyler is indeed his best in terms of lyricism and feeling natural without any pressure. Regarding only his ability as a rapper, Bastard is Tyler at his hungriest. There's so much angst and energy in his voice, rhymes, and the punchlines are at such a great surplus. You get your normal themes of violence, teenage rebellion, and being from a broken home, but since it's the first, it's easily the most fresh. Songs like Seven, Ass Milk, and Glorious in French are wonderful displays of Tyler as a top-notch rhymer. Session, VCR, Blow, and Pigs Fly are some of Tyler's best early beats. In the genesis of Tyler's production, pretty chords with hella key changes over hella percussion. Unfortunately, some of these rhymes don't age too well when you pair it with society's current norms of being PC over every fucking thing. Sarah and Blow just don't really go over too great when you hear them these days. Even though this album is great, to put it higher would be a disservice as he's come such a long way and is greatly advanced since 2009. That said, Bastard is a timeless record to say the least. Give it a listen and enjoy all that controlled chaos. Number 3, Wolf. It can be argued that 2013 was the peak of Odd Future's success as a musical collective. All of the core members we knew and loved were in the mix, and their recognition was on a high. Their merch was flying off the shelves, the Camp Flog Gnaw Festival was in its second year, Lord of SWAT was in its second season on Adult Swim, and they hit us with even more quality projects. Chief among them was Tyler's third album, Wolf. This record is a peak of Tyler's early sound and as a result is the best of the three. The album almost feels like the soundtrack of a beautiful stage play that never actually made it on stage. So many layers and themes that vary from funny on songs like Colossus and Tamale, to sad on songs like Answer and I Fucking Hate You, to smooth in records like Tree Home and Beamer, to angry in records like Pigs and Rusty. What makes the experience so much better is how they go quite well with the musical landscape, and is lended a bunch of credibility through endless amounts of features, from Odd Future members like Frank Ocean and Earl Sweatshirt, to legends like Pharrell, Erykah Badu, and even Letitia Saadier. Many people that you never expect to work with Tyler up to this point, but their place on the album gives much more credibility to Tyler as a producer and direction giver. Enough to push the start button on people outside of hip-hop beginning to take him a little more serious and not see him as just some crazy guy that kills people. Number 2, Igor. To think that this album isn't even a year old and it's many people's favorite album from Tyler already has to say a lot. For me, I gotta be completely honest. When the album first came out, I didn't really know what to think about it. A drastic departure from even the album before it, you have Tyler the Creator, an artist synonymous with rap and generally destructive things, making basically an R&B album full of catchy melodies and harmonies. It's so out of pocket from its genre to the way it pitches up Tyler's voice on the majority of the songs to even its features. Did you seriously think you'd ever hear Tyler on a record with Lil Uzi and Playboi Carti? Come on. It's incredibly abstract to say the least, and that's probably what makes this record so amazing. You have Tyler stepping out of his comfort zone to make you realize that this was his comfort zone all along. Smooth but colorful production with hard-driving drums and lyrics are prevalent throughout. There's so much to love in how he speaks on heartbreak at its high on songs like Earthquake and What's Good, and even I think to such painfully painful records like A Boy Is a Gun and I Don't Love You Anymore. Side note and completely off topic, I want to send a major super duper shout out to Tyler for giving us our own song, Puppet, on this amazing album. From one puppet to another, we fucks with you in these streets. Did I mention that the overall theme of this record is about being consumed in unrequited love with someone and finally accepting that it's never gonna work? A topic that Tyler's explored in the past, but never in such an expanded way like this. You feel each lyric and it gets you really, really down. It makes all the sense in the world that this album went #1 and made him a bona fide household name that you had to give a seat at the table to. And what's even better is, he does it without compromising himself or stepping out of his box. Instead, just building a bigger one to play in. And the #1 Tyler the Creator album of all time is Flower Boy. If you follow Tyler heavy, it's really no question on why this album is his absolute best. It's almost as if he's taking 2 steps forward, 1 back with each release in succession. But on this one, it was like he took 30 steps forward and didn't even consider turning his ass back around. The deep expansion into his production with its heavy use of guitar, 808s, and those chords Tyler's synonymous with is definitely noticed. And the variety is what holds this one up so greatly. Then you dive into the lyrics, which helped this record kinda break the internet at the time of its release. Tyler reveals his bisexual identity and comes out of the closet, which makes him the first gay rapper with credibility to ever hit the mainstream. When you listen to every album prior to this one, it all makes sense. Yes, while Tyler has always been vulnerable and brutally honest, it was often done with much levity or harshness to mask what could be some insecurity about himself. Here, he's revealing his true self, a person that doesn't really know who he is at the time of this recording. As a result, the themes of loneliness, a lack of identity, and the aforementioned gayness make this Tyler's most introspective and arguably relatable record to date. That said, there's not a single skip either. The bright sonics and See You Again, Potholes, Boredom, and Glitter, the mellow sounds of November, Garden Shed, and Dropping Seeds, they all hold up and give you a lot of material while never steering too far from the original theme. And to think that Kanye West, Nicki Minaj, Zayn Malik, Justin Bieber, and Schoolboy Q all passed on some of the best songs on this album. Wow. This project gives you everything that we love about Tyler at its highest level, and that is why Flower Boy is Tyler the Creator's best album. Did you agree with my list? How would you rank Tyler the Creator's albums? Let me know in the comment section. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my Mama's Garage, and check in next time. I'm Calvin.